Hello, and welcome back to User Experience Design, Understanding User Engagement. In this portion of Section 5, we're going to start out by understanding human insights. What you're going to learn today is a basic overview of what we're going to be talking about, an overview of human insights. We're going to talk a little bit about what insights are, how they're central to doing design and design thinking and user experience design, how humans' needs and observations lead to insights, and then we're going to continue to get excited about building those over the next couple of videos of this section. So what is an insight? Understanding humans deeply. Now, when we pay attention to users, it's at the core of what we do as a user experience, because what we're really trying to engage our users to do is something that they are doing naturally, or that we've listened to them and heard them that they want to do, or that we've understood about them because we've revealed something through doing that. Now, UX is looking to build understanding in the form of user insights, because this is the kind of currency that we can share with our product teams or with our clients or with our stakeholders that show what we know to be true, and then that allows us to disseminate some of that understanding through forms like empathy maps and outputs, but also just through the relationship of like, why is this meaningful to our user and how is the change that we're attempting to make going to be done in that way. Now, when we pay attention and listen and we watch and we really are doing the hard work of doing UX, we really spend and build outputs like this. Now, an insight is the capacity to gain an accurate and deep understanding of a person, place, or thing. And in the UX realm, that has to do a lot with a product, a technology, or a service. Now, the reason that we pay a lot of attention to insights is that it is something that's not along the surface, right? An insight differs from an observation because it's not really obvious at first. And that's what makes them kind of challenging and hard to come up with, is that it's not just, oh, people love technology. Like, that's a very broad statement, but it's also not that insightful, right? Now, you kind of know it's true when it tells a good story, or it's something that you didn't know before, or that it has some output that was really unique to how that person relates, or how their patterns work, or how their creative outputs is. And it's linked to all this other stuff that we've been talking about. User habits, how they engage in technology, what do they need, and it all kind of boils down into these things that we try and encapsulate into a short statement that is shareable and done in the output that we need. Now, we're going to be working on these as we continue through this output, but an important aspect of design is that insights are fundamental. Without having some inclination of why you're designing the thing that you're designing for another user, if it's not there, it's very hard at which to justify or to come up with new ideas. And UX is really trying to help people along the way. And there's insights that happen from a massive scale to things that are just kind of unique, like how insightful it is that a person really enjoys pushing a button a certain way. Now, the key to starting any design or solving any problem is you don't want to start without at least one good insight. Insights can come along the way, but if you don't have anything, it's like staring at a blank page. It's very hard at which to make the first mark, and an insight can be a way at which to do that. Now, when we talk about insights, it's really a function of a lot of the things that we've been doing throughout this course and throughout other aspects, but it's really a combination of our notes that we've understood about the product or the service that we're taking, the conversations and the observations that we've made from our users. We've built empathy maps, and we've built personas, and we've done all these things to really help us understand who our users are. And that deepness can then be boiled down or be kind of consolidated into an insight. That insight then can drive or be the kind of fuel for coming up with ideas. Now, there's 5 kind of basic principles of insight definition. Now, insights are really related around telling a good story, but there's the things like it's contextual, right? It has context. It communicates some sort of dilemma, like what is a problem that occurs with the user. It articulates why. There's motivation involved in how this is insightful for an upward. And then there's maybe an opportunity even to show like what is ideal about that scenario. Now, everyone will tell you different aspects of how an insight is done, and there's no silver bullet for writing good insight. For like making an insight, they can be written in a number of ways, but there are some exercises that we'll go through in later videos at which to explore some of this output. Now, the question really is, why do insights matter? Like, why does UX and design need them in an output? Now, as a user experience designer, we spend a lot of time understanding who our users are. And by doing that accurately and being able to share that, the core of that is really to say, we know and can anticipate how culture and how our users act in that space. And that insight allows us to birth new ideas, build on outputs, and then create something that wasn't there before, or to act in knowing what's inside our user. And insights are currency. They're hard to produce, as I've said and I'll say again, but the empathy for our users is fueling what those insights mean and how they get built out. And they let us get inside the head of who we're designing for, right? And they also become something that is shareable. Now, if we're looking at the kind of process we've been going through, right? We've empathized, we're starting to define who we are. Insights are really core at cruxing between problem and what solution we're going to find. The insight drives through that, is kind of at the beginning, and it can help us be human-centered in a nature that allows us to then ideate and then prototype and test to solve problems that are answers to the things that we've defined as the problems. Now, for us, like a core of coming up with insights is that we're going to spend some time in this section doing that, right? It's very human-centered. We're going to learn about insights, which I've talked about a little bit more. We're going to talk about a way in which to structure them. We're going to build some insight in the next set of videos, and then we're going to test and share these to make sure and iterate on them, because there's something that are not static the first time they come out of you, and sometimes your first insight can be improved upon over time. So insights allow us to solve problems, and we should be kind of getting there. So let's get excited about learning how to build some of these user insights